Now that you've got a grasp of Linux ownership and file permissions, it's time to set the correct ownership and permissions for your website files. We're going to take a quick peek there and change ownership to your username. That'll be the owner, and the group owner will be www data, the web process, the Nginx web servers process. And we're going to do that recursively with the -R flag on every file and directory and every file and directory in those directories, all the way down in home, your site user's name, public HTML. What we're going to do is simply run these two commands. I've simplified them below, these two find commands. So you could run these from anywhere on the file system if you wrote find and instead of the dot you wrote the full path, that is home, your username, public HTML. I think it's a little bit nicer to look at them this way. So we'll cd to that directory first, and then we'll use the dot shortcut for current directory to say find everything in this current directory that I'm sitting in that is of type, the first line is type D, which means directory. Find any file that has the type directory, and then execute on that file a chmod 755 on that file name. Likewise, the second one says do the same thing on everything that has a file type, not a directory, and execute 644. Files and directories need to have slightly different permissions, but these two commands will set up the permissions just how you need them for your site. So let's go do that right now. First, as always, we'll SSH to our server. And once you're on your server, let's have a look at that first command. Change owner recursively to your username, www data, in home, your username, public HTML. I'm going to hit Control W to erase this chunk here. Tutorial Linux is our username. So we'll say home, Tutorial Linux, public HTML. So this will be the first command that we run. I've commented out the command just for right now. And let's see what the permissions are, the ownership and permissions are right now. Home, Tutorial Linux, public HTML. Looks like these files are all owned by root, the root owner and group owner. So what we'll quickly do is simply change this to be Dave and www data. And by Dave, of course, I mean Tutorial Linux. So let's run this command, look at the directory again, and you can see we've changed the owner and the group owner. Now let's change to that directory. And the permissions by default will be correct here, but it certainly doesn't hurt to run this again, especially if you've had an attack, someone got in, someone compromised, let's say your Nginx or your PHP process. They may have added files or modified them to have strange permissions. So they may have given execute permissions to, a JPG file, an image file, and they're going to try to execute that to execute some malicious code or some PHP or what have you. So it can help to simply run this command, the find type D exec 755, that sets your directory permissions the way they should be, and find type F exec chmod 644. That is, Tutorial Linux can read and write, www data, and everyone else can only read. That's it for now. This is a scheme that works well. If your needs change, you may need a different ownership and permissions scheme, but this should start you off on the right foot. Have fun and stay safe.